All right, 6 o'clock, it's time to call to order the Mount Pleasant Municipal Planning Commission meeting tonight. At this time, I'll ask Robert to do our invocation and John Hunter to do our pledge of allegiance. Everyone, please stand.
We'll bow and let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening, Lord, thankful for this day. Thank you for watching over and protecting us and our families. Father, we ask that as we proceed with this meeting tonight, that everything that comes from this meeting be beneficial to all residents here in Mount Pleasant, applicants, all parties involved. We ask that you give us a safe passage home as we leave here tonight. Continue to lead and guide and direct our steps. And we give you thanks and praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank
Are we on
you.
yet? Yeah, I did.
I sent it instead of the-
Something that we can send to her email address.
I can. Do you have that link?
Mm-hmm.
You guys send it to her?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will.
Thank you.
You want to proceed?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay. Let the minutes reflect, we do have enough commissioners for a forum tonight. Item number 3 on our agenda tonight is approval of the agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I have a motion for approval and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, approval of meetings, prior meeting January the 12th, 2021.
Make a motion, we approve the prior meeting's minutes.
I have a motion for the meeting and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Robert, at this point, I'll turn it over to you. Start with number 5 for plat approval.
I will. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight, that's in the audience. So the plat approval PC 0209 2021 FP1 is brought to us tonight from the owner, Chris Frierson, who's present in the audience as well. The plat that you have before you is a combination plat. Mr. Frierson owns property, his house on Halls Alley. He also owns a property directly behind that. And Mr. Frierson's wish is to receive approval on this plat, combining both properties, removing the lot lines that's associated with those sections. He does own a little strip there as well. Those lot lines will be removed also as part of this final plat. Initially, upon review, there were just a couple minor things that were pointed out, and I'll go over the comments quickly if that's okay with the board.
Okay, that's fine.
We had 2 sewer lines that were shown on the plat. The east-west lines identified as an 8-inch line with a 15
What is it?
foot, yes, 15-foot row designated. But there's no information that was regarding the other line that extends southwest, northwest between the residential structure and Halls Alley. So we asked that the engineer identify the remaining sewer line width and associated easement. And also, corrections need to be made for the 8-inch line to reference 15-foot sewer easement. That was done on the corrected plat. Also, on the preliminary plat that we received, seal and signature of the surveyor was omitted. And as you can see, it's identified at the top of the plat there. Date and plat and title of subdivision omitted. And I don't know if he made that correction on there. I spoke with him just earlier. I'll verify that if it's needed. We'll make sure that it gets on there before. I'm responsible for recording these plats, so just to let the planning commission know anything that's left out that will need to be corrected, I will certainly take care of that. Certificate of approval sewer system was initially omitted on the preliminary plat. That's been corrected. It's located in one of the certificates at the bottom of the page. Other than that, on our review, we've seen no issue concerning the combination plat that was provided for us, and the issues that we did address were corrected in this case by the engineer. Everything appears to be in order to follow our subdivision regs as far as combining existing lots. And like I said, Mr. Fraction is present in the audience if the planning commission has any questions for him in regards to this. It does meet the standards to our subdivision regs.
So we're only taking partials and making one complete?
That's correct, yes, sir. Actually taking a large piece of property, which you'll see right here on the backside, right there.
Yeah.
Identified right here. It's a vacant piece of lot, vacant piece of property. And this little sliver between here, Mr. Fraction does own all of those. I believe Mr. Fraction's plans in the near future possibly is to build a garage. In order to do that, Mr. Fraction originally approached me asking to build, and, you know, I advised him that it can't be the primary structure.
Understand.
And the reasoning behind his final plat proposal is to combine those lots, so that accessory structure will not be a final.
Yeah, that's understandable, yeah. All right, any questions from the commission? Now, do I hear a motion for final plat approval?
I make a motion that we approve final plat contingent upon Robert's
Verification
verification.
of the remaining
Yeah.
comment. Yes, sir.
I second it.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Chairman, can I interrupt you? Our attorney says she's on the call. I want to make sure we can hear her. Corey, can you hear us?
I can hear it, Paul. Can you hear me?
Okay, now you're there.
Now you're there.
Before it was just
We can see you now.
now we can see you, but you took away Jennifer.
Jennifer go.
Okay, I'll go back into hiding now.
Okay, just want to make sure you were there.
All right, number 6, rezoning request. This once again goes back to Robert.
Okay, Chairman, we do have total three rezone requests. The first, I'll say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Moving on to the rezoning request, as you see, we have three proposed rezoning requests before you tonight. The first one, singularly owned by Bonafide Holdings, located at 500 First Avenue. And I know all you familiar with it, was the old Appertain building. Pre that it was Menasha Box Factory. And that building went to new ownership, and they're represented here tonight. The owner, or one of the owners, is here tonight with us in the audience. They're requesting a rezone 500 First Avenue to a light industrial. Currently, it's zoned neighborhood commercial, non-conforming under its previous uses.
It's on what?
Like,
Neighborhood commercial is what it's currently zoned. What they're asking for is to a rezone to light industrial. Neighborhood commercial, under the neighborhood commercial zone, the existing, not True Rail, even True Rail, but the one before them is a non-conformity. They were using the house, using the building as warehousing and storage space. True Rail came in, acquired the property, continued using it as such, so the non-conformity stayed with the property. Apparently their business has done well, and they're wishing to expand operations to the inside of the building, to minor manufacturing and repair of rail parts, railroad parts. In order to do that, they requested this rezoning because it takes it from a neighborhood commercial where warehousing and storage under nonconformity was allowed. But considering their new requested use, it would have to be placed in a light industrial zone, hence the request from the owner tonight. I've spoken with the owners. I've spoken with several people in the neighboring area. I don't know if anybody's here representing that area tonight. Just one-on-one conversations. I do want to bring to the board's attention, the extent of this operation, per one particular citizen that lives in close proximity to the building, was that they want to clarify operational hours, because it is a neighborhood that surrounds the building here. They want to clarify from tonight's meeting, operational hours, outdoor storage, if any. According to the owners at this time, there would be no outdoor storage other than what exists on the premise at this time. And also any possible noise pollution or environmental pollution that would occur as a result of this type of operation to be allowed. Now, we did point out several comments, and, you know, I do want to bring them before the board's attention. That's my duty. So, if you want to follow kind of along on the 501st Avenue, I'll just bullet point, hit the highlights of each one of those. Staff comments for rezone request at 501st Avenue.
All right.
And it explains, like I did before, that the legal use the current use is legal nonconformity and protected continuing operations indefinitely under warehousing and storage. The structure on site is a typical industrial building, as you all are familiar with. The ancillary issues, such as truck and vehicular access and parking, is existing and can enter the site from two public streets, both from Greenwood side and also from First Avenue side. There's a third access for parking office visitors. Currently, the site, in my experience, it's been underutilized for what it was. Box factory manufacturing its main purpose back in the day, and it's been used recently for warehousing and storage. Of course, expanding operations could possibly increase tax revenues, generating employment opportunities. The site has clear and easy access to State Route 43, which is directly situated off 43. Although currently use is for warehousing and proposed fabrication, any use identified in the IL district, and I really want to bring this point home to the Planning Commission, any use that is in our IL district, if the rezone is approved tonight, would follow suit and be allowed for that particular building, that particular site. There are numerous uses. I'm not saying True Rail is going to walk out the door tomorrow, but we do want to really emphasize that we're not only accepting the current proposed use, we are accepting all permitted uses that's in the light industrial zone. And they are many. They're on our zoning ordinance in text, and heavy manufacturing is one of those. So I just want the board to be considerate. We're not opposed to it, but we wanted to make sure that the board completely understands that all permitted uses are now
Once
allowed.
it's put there, it's going to stay there.
Because it stays with the property, not the
Right.
owner of the
Right.
business.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to emphasize that, and I'll move on to the next one. An increase in operations may encourage the property owners to pay closer attention to the site with regard to ground and site maintenance and overall visual appearance. I will give kudos out to True Rail. They have done an exceptional job
Yes, they have.
on bringing the property up to a state pleasing site at this point. They've painted, they've done grounds work, they've done a lot to the building. They've done a lot to the site, so kudos to them. They've invested quite a bit already. If uses expand, there may be increased off-site impacts. That's another thing that I want to bring to the attention of the Planning Commission, considering traffic, type of transport in and out of the city in that particular area. This may include things like noise, lighting, AM/PM traffic congestion, truck activities, hours of operation, deliveries. These increased off-site impacts may be difficult to mitigate later on down the road. So we laid out all those comments just to basically make the Planning Commission aware of the whole situation in its entirety. Representative from True Rail is here tonight. He would be glad to answer any and all questions. As staff, we're not opposed to it, but we do want everybody on board to understand the possible factors that could come along with.
Let's understand. At this time, we'd like a representative from True Rail, if we would, just give a little brief
Yes, sir.
of what they're gonna do to the site.
Be glad. He's right here in the audience.
Just state your name, please, for the minutes.
Mark Smith, one of the owners of Bonafide Holdings, as well as True Rail. We are, as Robert has said, we're planning on expanding our business. As we came here with the intentions of just repairing rail cars, partnering with Patriot Rail. Our business, we've identified about 50 or 60 parts so far that we can start manufacturing ourselves, which will help not only in our business, but potentially sell these to other repair facilities across the country. So it's an opportunity. We're going to take, our plans are to take about 15,000 square feet out of the building and put a small fabrication facility in. So it is, I understand the concerns, our hours, we'll work with the city and whatever we need to do to be good neighbors, I'll put it that way, to everyone. We certainly don't want to upset the neighborhood at all. You've seen what we've done so far. That's about a third of what we've got planned for that property there. So there's a new roof getting ready to go on the building. There is new fencing going to go up along with security screens around the property there. So if there was any outdoor storage, it's going to be contained. Truck traffic in and out, maybe 3 or 4 a day at max. So that I don't see as an issue. That's that's us in the gist. We're just trying to grow the business, be good neighbors, and bring more paying jobs to the area.
Very good. I appreciate your time.
Any other questions for me?
Chairman, if you have a minute, I'd like to speak towards it too.
All right.
So when True Rail first announced that they were coming here, the idea was about 80 jobs, very good paying jobs. That announcement, it made the paper, and I don't want to take anything away from you, Mark, but you can say if I'm wrong about anything. What they realized was they were ordering these tools and parts that they needed, and they can fabricate them themselves, which is why when they first got here, we didn't need the ability to manufacture them. And now that they do, they had gone to the state before they located here about getting grant money to help with not only their businesses, but city infrastructure issues. And because they weren't manufacturing, state will typically say no. We've met with the state since this has come up to light that they can manufacture these things, and that would take the 80 jobs to 150 jobs.
I understand.
And that also allows the city with True Rail to apply to the state to get some money to improve our infrastructure, to give them the water that they need and to find additional water sources. And we actually have met with them more than once, and we're kind of at a point where we're deciding next steps based on what happens this evening. But that's a fast track grant that we would be looking into. And I've asked them all the same questions about pollution, noise, it's in the middle of a neighborhood, and they definitely want to be good neighbors, but just wanted to share kind of how it got to why we're manufacturing, where before really it wasn't an issue at that time.
Yeah. Myself, I took a tour of this facility and stuff, and living in the neighborhood there, they have greatly improved this area from what it was. It had almost become an eyesore over there with a lot of things that's going on and stuff, but what they're wanting to put in there, and what the best I can tell is a small fabrication shop and to make some of their parts, and you got to be rezoned for that purpose and stuff, and
How much noise is it gonna actually be? Because I'm proud of what y'all done to the building. I've already came in and told y'all that, and it looks so much better. Y'all did move my deer though and then put him back, but that's okay.
He'll be back for Christmas.
Okay. But yeah, 'cause I like the brick. Then I realized, okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, you have made it look so much better there. And one of the things when we was working on the zoning, we knew the area was going to become more commercial. But we also know that people live in there too. So I mean, when you start actually making stuff, how much noise is it going?
It's gonna be minimal.
Okay. Okay.
All of it's gonna be done inside the buildings.
Okay.
You know, the doors won't be opened or anything of that nature, so everything's gonna be contained.
Okay.
I really don't think you're gonna hear anything any different than what's there now.
My understanding is that you go on site to do everything with what I,
Correct, yeah, the
you
repair.
have all the repair trailers and stuff and you go on site because some of the questions we're gonna hear from some people, you know, the first thing is like dealing with rail, are you gonna have rail? 'Cause, you know, you don't have rail over, I mean,
Right.
but you know, people's asking questions.
Bringing the cars into.
Yeah, to that nature, but no, my understanding is you have mobile equipment that goes to the site and does all this.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
I feel like we got some people here tonight before we do. I do appreciate your time and explaining everything to us.
Sure.
And everything, and appreciate you coming into there and investing into Mount Pleasant here.
Well, we won't call this home.
Okay, but like I say, I think we got some people here tonight. Does anyone here want to comment on this tonight before we zone on it? If you would, please step forward and give your name. I know who you are, but you need to give your name for your minutes, please.
Jimmy Frank, #1 Greenwood.
Yes, sir.
Fine job.
Thank
This family can't find it's provide a lot of scrap metal, right, wrong.
It will provide, it will generate a little bit of scrap. Right now, I produce scrap off the rail cars. I put them into some outside bins and Mike Tapano down here at Waste Haulers. All that off.
Pardon me. I'm just gonna ask, if you wanna ask him questions, that's perfectly fine.
If you're both,
I need
yeah.
both of you standing, facing the
We
mic.
record.
Yeah, we record your minutes.
And just everything needs to be recorded.
Mhm.
Okay, I live right at your west entrance to it, right where your dumpsters are.
Yes.
And every evening between 3 and 6, they come and get both of them dumpsters, and it makes a lot of racket and noise, and, how many more dumpsters are you gonna add to that?
That was a customer that we had in the space that's actually moving out and getting rid of things. So that, today was the last day of that.
Okay, is that still gonna be the dumpster size, transfer size?
No, we'll probably be the outside.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've heard that during the day too, down there when they're loading off. But as I say, I talked to them and they're having some outfit that stored a lot of machinery in there. And they're cleaning it out now and stuff.
Yeah, another question I have, is on that light industrial. I have a problem with light in rail car. That doesn't sound light to me.
These are small pieces and parts that we take to the trains.
Okay, you said that, you know, it doesn't specify what, maybe doors, rail doors,
No,
or
this is,
wheels, or, you know,
no, these are literally, I can hold them in my hand.
okay.
They're tiny little pieces.
I went through saying it's the brakes and the couplers and stuff like that, bearings, et cetera, that goes to the wheels and stuff on the car.
One thing that ran through my mind when I, you know, maybe you're gonna redo wheels and axles, you know.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Okay.
We're not certified to do that.
Hmm.
That's one thing with our business, you have to be certified to do anything like this, so we would never get into large, heavy things.
Well, I've been over a long time as he has.
Yeah.
Sure.
You've been bringing heavy truck traffic in there day and night. Pretty soon you're not gonna have any street.
Yeah, that's true.
And 166 is state highway, so
Yeah.
state has to worry about that, but still, you know, no concern.
Sure, absolutely.
This traffic's gonna have noise and dumpsters, you know.
Mhm.
When I look at my front door, my front window, there I see a bunch of dumpsters and, Mike coming picking them up, you know.
Mm.
Right,
So,
yeah, we're just simply trying to clean out the trash.
I just, you know, ask a question.
Yeah. Oh, you got to. You got to,
I've been over a
yeah.
long time, I'm
Yeah.
gonna die there.
You're welcome to come by anytime if you've got any questions. The door's always open to anyone here. We'll be glad to take you, let you see what we're doing.
Then we'll come over and get shot.
No,
No, they
How much the beer's in front yard?
some good people. I know. We met them.
Anyway, I thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Appreciate it. Any more questions from the board?
Corey, do you want to kind of go through the list of criteria when this board is considering a rezone?
Sure. So this is a public hearing and you've already let everyone speak, I believe, that wanted to come forward. So now you are making a recommendation to the city commission and basically making findings of fact on whether or not to accept this rezone. And when you're doing that, you need to follow the standards in section 4.7D of your zoning ordinance, and I will pull those up real quick. If you have that with you, it'd be easier for you to.
I don't think, we don't have it in front of them right now.
They don't. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so the 4 requirements are that the amendment is in agreement with the land use plan for the area. Number 2, there will be no adverse effects upon adjoining property owners unless such effect can be justified by the overwhelming public good or welfare. Number 3, no property owner or small group of property owners will benefit materially from the change to the detriment of the general public. And number 4, conditions affecting the area have changed to a sufficient extent to warrant an amendment to the area's land use plan and subsequently the zoning map. So when you are deliberating about whether or not to accept this rezoning application, just try to work those 4 factors into your discussion.
Very well. Thank you.
I apologize for not
Not a
attaching
problem.
that copy of this.
Not a problem.
We should all know them by heart by now, right?
Yeah.
Never several
Off
times.
the page.
Never several times.
Okay. Did I hear a motion on this rezoning request?
I make a motion to pass the zoning request according to 4.7D of the zoning ordinance.
I have a motion
A second.
and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Did we get a Jennifer?
Jennifer, did you vote?
You have to speak to come back on screen.
Jennifer, we need to hear your voice to get you to come back on the screen. She's mute. Jennifer Graham? She's usually not quiet. Must be-
Okay.
There she is.
There she is. She's voted. She's got her finger up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's still muted.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. That's a 5-0 vote.
Yes.
Let's see, Jackie made the motion,
And
and
Mr. Hunter seconded it.
John second. 5-0. All right, Robert, you can continue.
All right. Moving on to the next item, identified as PC 0209, 2021 RZ2. This is going to be in reference to properties located 911 through 917 First Avenue, and there are 3 North High properties. So I apologize for the time because this is, I'm going to have to explain this just a little bit.
That's fine.
I'm going to have to get into depth with it.
Okay.
So if you're on First Avenue, all the vacant lots that you see right there on the hillside, those are 911 through 917 First Avenue. Those are individual lots. The proposal comes before us tonight. They are currently zoned R1, which is low-density residential with no houses on the lots on the First Avenue side. They're currently zoned R1 low-density, and they want to, they're proposing to they're asking to rezone that particular area to IL, which is light industrial. And then the properties on North High Street to RG3, which is identified in the agenda and was on the application, but the more appropriate zone to consider would be an RG2, because the construction would be of duplexes in that area unless they want to proceed forth with the RG3.
Right.
And you have representatives tonight from Cole Investments, and also the engineer who's present in the audience as well to speak to these. So 911 through 917 is being proposed, in short, to requesting to be rezoned to light industrial for construction of mini storage units. Our North High properties, there are 3 of them. They're requesting a rezone for duplex, construction of duplex units on those properties on North High.
But all we're considering is rezoning.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of want to give you all a heads up
Yeah.
on the proposed
Right.
request. So, that being said, you've got all those individual lots that are vacant at this time. And what the applicant is requesting, in essence, for those on First Avenue is to, for an IL zoning light industrial, which once again, if you go back to 500 First Avenue, any zoning, you take on all the permitted uses, not just the proposed, before you tonight. I'll go over the comments that the board would like, in relation specifically to this, unless y'all tell me not to. So that's staff comments for rezoning request for 7 parcels on First Avenue and High Street.
Our main thing for the board is for you to say it meets your approval.
Okay. Based on the submittal, there are several factors involved for particularly the mini storage that we do not believe as staff would be appropriate for land use development for the mini storage units there on First Avenue. When we went through our zoning ordinance, as many of you recall, we talked several times about that being a main corridor and main travel way to our downtown area. And it is still considered as such. At this point in time, though, considering its connectivity with 43, it's high visibility, and you're surrounded by residential houses that exist in that area. Staff don't think that this zoning would be the best use of the land in that particular area for the mini storage units. To the duplex units, they would fit the character of the existing structures. You have single-family homes on High Street side, but like I said, just other than our comments, what we covered in our comments, that's the specific reasoning for,
I need you to explain that to me again,
Okay.
why you don't think that safe storage would fit in that area when we got one
And
on the next leadway in, and
I'll be glad to speak to that. Safe storage, when they came in, they were under the old zoning ordinance. If you remember correctly.
that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
They don't have houses out there.
Don't have houses by it either.
There's no houses out there.
And there's no residential structures around that, but it was under our old zoning ordinance. And under the old zoning ordinance, mini storage was allowed under the highway commercial zoning. Under this, our new zoning ordinance, mini storage is only allowed in light industrial. It's not allowed in highway commercial, it's not allowed in residential area. But under our old zoning ordinance, it was allowed in the highway commercial zone. That's why we presented safe storage in a different light at that time, because under our old zoning,
I'm with you.
it was allowed, it was a permitted use. It's just, the light industrial, based on the comments that we provided to the board, being a main corridor into the town, we just don't think it's the most viable land use option that we could consider here for this board. Now, originally, and I might speak out of turn here, of course, the applicant is here as well as the engineer, but originally, the proposed development was for townhome development on First Avenue side, duplex units on High Street side, which that would be more suited for that area, in our opinion, and staff's opinion and professional opinion, due to the high visibility off 43, the direct connectivity to 43, and the direct connectivity to the main corridor to our downtown area. But that was nixed before the plan came before us. I don't know how that came about, but what is presented here tonight is a rezone request for light industrial, mini storage, future construction of mini storage on First Avenue side, and possible duplex construction on the High Street side.
With anything there, they're gonna have to get a right of way from the state to enter that, wouldn't they?
I'm sure, well, right now, currently, they would have right-of-way access possibly to the individual lots, but once it's surveyed and combined together, they would still have to work, I'm assuming, through state contact, for direct connectivity back to First Avenue, with it, regardless of what development it is. I would make that assumption, yes, sir. But as I indicated before, the engineer and the developer are here present tonight. They can speak to this. We sent out notification to all surrounding properties. We publicly identified the locations for the particular areas that are proposed for rezoning tonight. People have been notified. I don't know if anybody's here to speak directly to it as far as citizens. But
There's one hand back in the back.
okay, but I do feel that these comments that were provided to you from staff and professional associate that we use for planning, as you are all welcome here with, speak to our concerns for industrial use, particularly in that area.
Well, you know, when we started rezoning, we discussed a lot of this, just like Jackie said earlier, especially for this First Avenue side and stuff. It being leaning towards the commercial side now.
Yes, sir.
And everything. You know, now we're jumping up and saying, no, we're going to try to change things mid-course now, go a different way, you know, because this is the gateway into the community here. I mean, what do we do?
Well, you do have a gateway. So commercial, highway commercial, but they're not asking for highway commercial. Now, the lot further up from these proposed lots, I know I've spoke with the developer. He just hasn't presented anything.
Closer to 43?
Closer to 43. But when I initially talked to him, and I haven't seen any documents forthcoming, but that is highway commercial, and that would be a possible venture for that developer on the lot closer to 40, on the larger lot closer to 43 side. We do have the, our one of our main focuses in the zoning ordinance was to make this a main corridor into our downtown area, but also to pull off of 43 any traffic that's bypassing Mount Pleasant, just as a result of not having anything there. So if you do see a commercial development come up on the edge of 43 in that particular area, even down the road, you've got the, you know, if it were a residential or even commercial for that matter, but residential, what we're speaking about tonight, you have rooftops that can support a workforce that could supply for commercial businesses or anything of that effect. Our intent with the zoning ordinance was to establish that as a main corridor, whether it be on the small commercial businesses or residential, because it's situated in close proximity to our parks. We've got several parks around in that area, and that was another one of the comments that was supplied to the Planning Commission as a result of this request, in particular to the First Avenue request. We just, like I said, we brought our concerns to the planning commission and staff as we're instructed to do. And I believe
Right,
that
you're doing your job.
I believe, just on those comments. I think our concerns are justified, based on our new zoning update that we had back in 2018. And I just want the board to take that into consideration when, all these comments when, entertaining this motion tonight, speaking specifically.
But also,
So y'all have the final ruling on anything.
I understand.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that we covered everything that we were concerned with.
although we talked about that being light industrial coming through there, we also consider the families that live there, and you put say storage in there, you have people coming in 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, if you put commercial in there,
Yeah, if it's a 24-hour gas station or restaurant or anything
Absolutely.
else, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could put,
Right.
somebody could come in and put
then
a Love truck stop there,
I don't think
just
so.
reference, but I mean, commercial, you're gonna have the traffic and stuff.
I don't think so.
I would like to talk, not I talk, but let one of the engineer or the developer speak, please.
Okay.
I'd like to hear some
Perfect.
information
Mr.
from them
Hicks.
too.
Yeah, I'm Justin Hicks with Co-Investments.
Hmm.
So I'm friends and in partnership with the guys who bought the property to the right. And the reason why we changed course from doing townhomes to the storage concept was because they're saying they're going to build a gas station there. It's not approved. It hasn't been approved. But if we build townhomes that are facing that lot and then there's a gas station going there, it just doesn't seem like that's going to be a real good situation for the townhomes,
Correct.
And so that's why we changed course with the storage units. My thought right now is it's a good placeholder for what that property will become down the road. We can move the storage units and then commercial can be built. But building a commercial strip center there right now is really it's probably too soon to do that from an investment standpoint. So for me, as I'll own these long term, the idea is that the storage units are a way to utilize the property now for the next few years. And then, if I build residential there, it's pretty much going to be residential for the next 100 years, So,
Yeah.
So that's my thinking on it. That's why we changed course. It's a way to, the way to utilize the property for now. And if they build that gas station in the next 5 years, then obviously it's going to make sense that commercial can keep going that way.
Right.
And I think ultimately that's what you're saying is that it'll be a corridor into Mount Pleasant with commercial all the way down
Right.
that strip,
Mhm.
So that's just to give an explanation. That's what our thinking has been. And sorry we didn't get to come in and tell you more about that before we sort of changed course. But you want to speak to anything on that?
No, I think, when you look at storage also, you talk about people coming and going. In essence, when you look at the traffic studies that are done on storage, people don't revisit the storage units very often. Every quarter they'll get stuff out that they've stored there to either change their, with the seasons, but usually stored there and then not visited that often. So, I think from a traffic standpoint, you have really low traffic rates in storage.
All right. I appreciate your time. Thank y'all. Any more comments from the board? All right, entertain a motion on this.
You got anybody
Yes,
wants
somebody
to
wants
speak?
to speak.
Anybody want to speak on this matter before we vote? Step forward and give your name, please.
Tracy and Raylan Runyon. We live right there at 157 North High.
Correct.
So, First Avenue is right behind us. So storage units are literally going to be in our back door. The property has not even been surveyed yet because there's been 2 different property people surveying. They don't know where the property lines are. Where our property lines, we've lived there for 20 years. Where we thought our property lines were, they're not. So these storage units are going to be in our back door. From me to you in our back door. I'm not happy about that. We're right here. Are y'all cutting down the trees beside our house? There's a rezoning thing where the trees are, like, this is our house. The 3.5 house right here is this empty lot over here, the sidewalk over here, the trees right here. There's a rezoning sign right here, off North High.
Oh, shit, look at it on there. Yeah, so y'all in this location here. We got North High Street first.
We gotta talk to the mic, please.
Where's the map? Sorry.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Cole Newton with TKC Architecture and Engineering. Just trying to figure out exactly where y'all.
Do you back to 43 or do you face 43 from your house?
Our back.
Okay, so that tells you a lot.
Somewhere around, when I don't know exact.
So here's one of the parcels that we're talking about, and then here's the storage unit. Here's First Avenue, 43 is here, North High runs here. And
Well, our back is to First Avenue, so.
So are y'all?
You know where we are, because I talked to you, show him where we are. I talked to you forever.
Where I live.
You're First here, so then you get this North High, 43 here.
So they're right down in here.
We're down the road from you.
Yeah, so they're right down here in the,
There must be across the street here. Then.
no, they're on this side of the.
Are they in the pocket right
They
here?
are in the pocket.
Okay, yeah.
That's where they live.
Yeah, so y'all are located right between.
Y'all live in there close where Dudley did?
Y'all live.
Yeah, Dudley's right down the road.
We live right in between. Y'all are right in between. So I mean, we'll be.
There's
trying
the
to-
empty lot,
trying to
there's
develop
us,
both of y'all.
and then there's all these trees. Are the trees gonna be cut and y'all building right there where the trees are?
That's where we're proposing to put a duplex unit.
Okay. So y'all are all around us.
Well, we're not right behind you. Right behind you would be that.
The storage unit?
No, right behind you, directly behind you would be the parcel that Robert was talking about. That's kind of
Up in the air right now.
up in the air a little
Okay.
bit. That's directly
So
behind you.
storage units are
would
gonna be where the trees are.
No,
No?
directly beside you would be additional would be additional houses.
Duplexes on
but
both sides.
On
of
both sides of
it.
it.
Okay.
And then behind you, roughly, about
Is up in the
75 feet, well, if you went catty corner from your property, behind you about 75 feet would start the duplexes, one parcel to the east. So directly behind you would be, if the gas station comes, would be the gas
They shut
station.
that off when you did that. You used to come all the way through.
Yeah, yeah.
And next to
They shut
you
that
would
road
be,
off and you have to
what we
come
propose to
off
do is
North High and
a
make it cul-de-sac.
individual lot,
And
with
then down the
duplexes
green,
on.
highway.
And then
everything, they
Behind
shut all
those
that off.
duplexes would be what we propose to do.
Yeah, 'cause that's where I used to go home. I just,
See, I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
figure out
yeah.
because
Yeah.
like I said, our
You know,
land
Dudley
is
before
not,
they
we bought our
did
house
that.
20 years ago and
We've had it surveyed.
it's been surveyed 2 times and the first person that surveyed it, he was there a week. And then this little guy come the other day and he's
you got a
like,
gas station?
I don't think this is right and I don't know where it is. I don't know where your property lines are.
Well,
I guess it's total.
And they are
yeah.
not what we was told when we bought the house.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got the survey, so we can look at all this. I mean, in general, I think
They had the old lot down here.
it's looking
that
at-
Barry bought, down here beside the church.
y'all are located in this, and then these, in the coloring, as the 2 lots we're kind of talking about. Duplexes here, storage here, this is the gas station lot.
Okay, these duplexes that are gonna be where the trees are that y'all are cutting, where is the entrance is gonna be to these? Are they gonna come off First Avenue or North High?
From a visual perspective, they'll look like, single family type homes, so
Right.
they'll have driveways that come off.
There,
Oh,
North
well,
High cannot take any more traffic. It can't. And North High can't take any more traffic. It is a dead-end street right now, which yes, we have a driveway, which was the house that, the old Houston house. It's just a driveway that connects. It's not supposed to be a road, but of course people use it for
Oh,
a
yeah,
road.
absolutely.
This road is crazy. It's too narrow. Somebody fell off in our ditch the other day at our house.
But see, right now, all they're asking for is rezoning.
Right.
And before they come back with any type of other plaque or anything, they have to do the traffic study. You correct me, Robert, and the 911 issue, the fire, police get involved and
Site plan.
stuff, have plannings for it. Right now, all they're asking for is rezone.
Right. I'm just
Right.
trying to.
I understand
I'm
it.
not trying to.
I know the area up there well and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but right now, these gentlemen are, and this company's only asking for rezoning
Right.
right here. If they do anything, when they start their building and everything, that's a different tale right there.
Right. I'm just trying to.
But
figure out what's going on.
understand y'all's
I was
issue.
hoping there was gonna be like pictures to show us, because I'm not good with maps. I'm not.
Well, see, that would come once they start building.
Yeah.
Right now, they're
So-
only asking for rezoning.
And the property, then they've been at our house, they've been all around, they've marked it, and they're like, this is not right. The last person who did this, they didn't know what they were doing, and these are not right, and this is, we have two buildings that are not on our property that
I
we've got
understand.
a lot we've got to do, so I'm just trying to figure out what's going on and what's gonna happen, and.
You have a finished survey though, right?
We do have a finished survey. We have a
But the
signed and
guy said
sealed
he didn't think
survey.
it was right. He had to call his boss because he didn't think it was right. We talked to him.
Well, we have a signed and sealed survey, so I mean, it's like, somebody's licensed in the state of Tennessee that this was good.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's, so I'm a civil engineer, so I mean, if we are fortunate enough to move forward, we will have, full plans, we'll have some renderings of what we'll produce, and those will be signed and sealed and, licensed by the state, so we're betting this is right, and he's betting his,
Okay.
the guy that signed it, he's betting.
Well, maybe
quite
he
a bit
got
of it.
more right after he talked to us.
Yeah, I think he's been tweaking it a little bit. He had to send crews out there 3 or 4 times.
Okay. Well, will there be another meeting before everything is finalized, or?
Before they
yeah.
build anything on there, it'll
They have to
be a
bring-
totally
yeah.
different meeting.
They have to bring a plat and a study and all that in.
Okay.
They're all public meetings.
They're all
You're welcome
public
to come to
meetings,
all of
but
them.
like I say,
I don't mean to sound like a crazy
no, but
person.
all we're
I'm
doing
just
tonight, all they're
trying to
requesting tonight is rezoning for this particular area.
Right. I
I've driven down
understand.
High. I get it.
Yeah, it is.
I had to
It's
back
good.
out.
They cut my shortcut off to my
I've lived there
house.
for 20 years, and
Yeah.
it was like living in the country, and then the bypass came in, and that made it totally, completely
understand.
different, and now this, and I'm like, oh, I'm ready to move. Honestly, I'm ready to move. It's not home no more. I'm ready to move.
But when you get vacant lots and stuff like that, that's something you have to
I
look
know.
for. And I mean,
Well, we tried to buy that house from that woman
oh,
for
you
years.
can't
and
touch it.
She
Yeah, I know.
refused to sell
I
it
know,
to us.
I understand.
She wouldn't have it. She didn't want us to have it.
Anything else?
No,
All
we're
right.
good.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Doug Sims, I live on North Isle, so, and I understand this is just a zoning meeting, but I'm gonna bring the same things up with traffic. That street is so narrow, and if you rezone it, yes, somebody gonna do something with it. And as far as the light industrial, back to the previous thing, once you do it, light industrial, it's there from now on. You gotta live with it.
Thank you. Any more comments?
I'd like to say something, Chairman. Just speaking to the First Avenue proposed rezoning. One of the gentlemen made a statement a while ago, I think it was Mr. Hicks, that, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the mini storage proposal, the construction of mini storage, of course, has to have a site plan and all that. If if they were allowed to put the mini storage, they would, just use it as a kind of a hold-in place to be able to utilize the land at this point. When you rezone,
Just say that.
So even if you wanted to build something commercial, you'd have to come back before this board for a commercial, highway commercial, or possibly still use it in the light industrial, but it have to follow to that permitted commercial use. There are a lot of permitted uses in the light industrial as discussed before. But that zone, regardless of if he puts it here, just to utilize the land now and then later on decides to move it down the road, that is still zone light industrial at that point. So I just, he mentioned that we'll go.
Clarify, now with respect to rezoning the highway, commercial highway.
I got you.
So we got 2 different rezone requests for 2 different properties, right? There's 2 different ones.
Well,
In the packet?
I think I
yeah,
was one.
there's actually a third one,
Yeah.
but it's owned by the same developer, and it's just for a single lot.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
the
So
two that we're discussing now is all the properties combined from.
and that's an all or nothing, right? So if we.
If you don't like one part of
If we
it,
don't like one part of it, it's all or nothing, right?
That came in as such,
Okay.
and yes, sir.
So we can't say yes to the duplexes and no to the,
No, it's all
or nothing.
All or nothing.
All on that one application, because all the land would be tied together, they would survey it out, or they laid out the survey.
again, it's zoning.
Mhm. All they're asking for is zoning.
we're asking for two different zoning. We're asking for RG3 and commercial.
That's
Not
correct,
industrial.
Light
I
industrial.
mean,
Light
light
industrial.
industrial, so that's two different things.
it is. But it all came in on the same application in relation to where the land is, it all tied together. That's why it came in on one application.
Okay.
Yeah. they conform.
I mean, the way it's zoned right now, it's not even, really that usable land, right? Each of those pieces each of those parcels is 50 feet wide, zoned, R1 low density. So you got setbacks of 30 feet. You'd have a 20-foot wide building envelope within the parcels that are there now, so. It's kind of sitting there with, we're restricted in its way, the way it's all kind of sitting out there right this
The
minute.
non-conforming lot.
Yeah. And
Probably
that's what the
why
zoning was
there's
when they
no
were
houses
built.
on them already. I mean, that'd be one of the reasons there's no houses on them already, I'm sure.
Could possibly be. They're considered non-conforming.
Any more questions? I'm gonna say one thing before we vote and stuff tonight, and I mean, of course, I've sat on this board a good while here. We seen all this coming when we changed all these zones, the zoning ordinance and stuff. And of course, residents, you have every right in the world to come up here and complain, whatever. You got people to come in and buy these lots and stuff. Somebody's gonna do something with these lots. They're gonna do something one way or another. These lots can't sit vacant. These people ain't gonna come in and buy these lots just for them to sit there and keep mowed and stuff. We want development in this town, whatever it may be, residential or whatever. I think we need to develop.
Well, when the state put the overpass there, that changed the landscape big time.
You know what I'm saying? But that's all I've got to say. I mean, I entertain a motion if anyone wants to make one.
I just wanted to state for the minutes, this is a public hearing, and again, try to incorporate those factors if you can in your motion.
I don't hear a motion. Rezoning request denied without a motion.
Corey, if there's no motion,
Hang on, I'm looking at the zoning ordinance.
I'll make a motion for them to go back and split it up.
What's the list of the 4 items again? Can we go over those again? Or Corey?
Yes,
Should we go over the list of
sure.
4
we
items
repeat
again?
those 4 items again for consideration for a rezone?
Yes, hang on just a second, so,
A different screen, I'm sure.
um, so the board factors Number 1, the amendment is in agreement with the land use plan for the area. 2, no adverse effect upon adjoining property owners unless such effect can be justified by the overwhelming public good or welfare. 3, no property owner or small group of property owners will benefit materially from the change to the detriment of the general public. And number 4, conditions affecting the area have changed to a sufficient extent to warrant amendment to the area's land use plan and subsequently the zoning map.
Thank you. She gonna give us feedback on
So
the,
Corey, if there is no motion, what happens?
Tabled.
I'm looking.
It looks like you're looking right at us.
Normally, no motion means it fails, but because in the planning commission rules say that you have 60 days to vote and address it, arguably it would be accepted. So I would, for the record, to be clear, I think there needs to be a motion one way. Okay, so that you don't fall into that 60-day confirmation just because it wasn't voted on.
Can we not fall into that 60-day confirmation in order for them to split it up into 2 different requests?
Didn't understand you, Ms. Granberry.
Can it not be, can we not do the 60 days in order that they can split it up and it be 2 different requests? Instead of having both of them
You can
together?
ask for additional information from the applicant, or you can, you can postpone, but you do have a 60-day window from when the application was received. You may need to check with Robert on when that happened.
When did you get it, Robert?
Came in, yes, January 1st, at our meeting.
Yeah,
last
it's
meeting.
like almost exactly a month.
I'll make a motion that we postpone it until,
wait a minute, John,
I'm sorry,
I'll make a motion that we deny it because it doesn't meet with the current land use plan that we have laid out for that area.
have a motion that we deny the request.
A second.
And a second. Do a roll call vote on this, please.
You that does that, Robert?
I can.
Okay.
Ms. Graham,
Yes.
Mr. Hunter,
Yes.
Mr. Marshall,
No?
Mr. Pugh,
Yes.
Ms. Granberry.
I'm not voting because I got a yes and a no. I'm not voting.
I couldn't understand what you said after you said you're not voting.
I'm not voting because I agree and I don't agree.
Okay.
We got 3 yeses, 1 undecided and 1 no.
Mhm. Rezoning request denied. Robert?
Yes, sir. Moving on to the 3rd rezoning request from Cole Investments and the engineers present here. Property at 159 North High Street, which is a singular lot located on North High Street. Current zoning is R1 low density. I believe it's a vacant lot at this point. The owners are requesting to rezone that to R3 high density for duplex construction. But R3 does allow for additional units outside of single family and duplex. It allows for multifamily as well. But that's the proposed request.
Where is that in located within this?
In relation to the 159 is going to be on the
It's like a,
It's on the First Avenue side, 159, right?
mm-mm.
It's a single
No,
lot
it's-
located on.
Yeah, it's sitting up, you know, it's up there close to the hill.
Mhm.
Because you're 157.
It's right beside our.
Okay, yeah.
Is that this piece?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the house.
Still vacant right there.
She said it was a house that burnt.
House that burned.
Mhm.
So if you're looking at their house right there, it's the lot directly next to it. House did burn and was demolished.
How many units will that fit if it's rezoned?
Well, our plan is to do the duplex unit there. I mean, it's a shallow but long lot. We feel like we can get, a duplex. A
One
single
duplex.
unit on it.
Well,
that should really
be an R2, right?
Well,
Okay,
R2 would be unacceptable for single family and duplex units. R3 goes to your multifamily, your townhomes, allows for duplexes, allows for
Right.
single family as well, but it reduces the density of the lot, so.
I think the
or,
townhome lots,
increases the density of the lot.
when you look at duplex and townhomes, they sometimes can be interchanged even though they're not. But I mean, the shape of this lot may end up being a 2 townhome building. I mean, we hadn't got that far into it, but it could end up being one building that is a duplex, or it could be a 2 townhome lot, depending on the actual
And
architecture.
RG3 would be the appropriate zone request for that type of development. And right now, currently, house burnt 2 years ago, I guess,
Yeah.
was demolished. So it is a vacant lot. It's sitting right next to the access that shouldn't be used as a road, but is used as a road sometimes to navigate between North High and First Avenue. It's a large size lot. I can't remember exactly.
0.15 acres.
Okay,
So I
so,
mean, it's shallow.
It's shallow, yeah.
Utilize the length of it.
but it did have a single family residence on the property prior to it burning, but it is a large size lot.
What staff recommendations on that lot?
There was stuff, some out in comments, I apologize. And I'll have to work this comment. So, the R3 description states that the zone district should be located adjacent to downtown commercial activity. The district uses build-to lines instead of traditional yards to establish a unified appearance from the street. There are no other properties in the general vicinity zoned R3. They're all R1 in that area. There are no other properties, the R3 zone district allows townhomes and multifamily units. As discussed earlier, the R2 district allows single and 2 family units. North High Street ends in a cul-de-sac and does not have a through access to First Avenue. 919 First Avenue, adjacent to the north side of the property, is zoned highway commercial. That's the lot that we covered in the previous zone request. And if 919 First Avenue is developed for CH, commercial highway purposes, the properties to the east may no longer be suitable for low-density residential use. This rezoning request should be considered along with the second request for the rezoning of the properties to the east and south of this lot. Taking into consideration the type of development that you would see there, being, townhomes as indicated, if the lot's big enough that the density for the R3 would allow that type of build there. Also taking into consideration that there's no through access from First Avenue to North High, and also speaking to what's been mentioned a couple of times here, North High, it's not going to generate that much more traffic being a dual townhome, but it would increase traffic flow in that area. To
So they're gonna have access to the lot from North High,
Mm-hmm.
not First Avenue.
So they'd have to have it.
Yes,
Yeah, I know it's in the plan.
That would be addressed in the site plan and next steps,
yeah,
right?
it would have to be addressed in the site plan. Yes, that's correct.
Should we allow R3 out there when we say that it's, should be located adjacent to downtown commercial activity?
Well, that's one of the criteria that's in our zoning text. And also one of the criteria is that has been on many zoning books for a long time, taking into consideration the surrounding adjacent properties, what they are zoned. But as mentioned before, just to this board, most of those lots now, as they are situated, are non-conforming to an R1 designation. They don't meet the lot size requirements. So that being said, if somebody were to propose to build a home there, you're looking at a 50-foot wide lot, which I think is the minimum requirement on our R1 zoning.
Not even
But then-
R2.
Uh-huh.
This, it wouldn't even meet R2,
What's that?
this lot.
This lot wouldn't meet
It,
the
it,
R2
it,
standard.
it wouldn't meet R2.
Okay, so it would be non-conforming to an R2 standard, and I'm glad you pointed that out. But right now, the way the lot is situated, it's a non-conforming, and if somebody proposed to build another single-family structure there, not saying that they wouldn't be allowed, they would have a process, they would have to negotiate through the Board of Zoning Appeals to obtain variances for not meeting the lot size requirements for either a single-family or a duplex unit. If it is rezoned, then it allows for a higher density use, and that property can in essence be utilized when right now, as it's situated, it would entertain another process for somebody to build in its current zone. That area
2.5
is,
acres is more than 50 feet.
that area, I'm sorry,
2.5 acres is more than 50 feet.
the lot width.
Okay.
A lot with that area has, that area was not, my recollection, Chairman, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that area wasn't upzoned or downzoned or anything. That's always been R1. Those lots have always been vacant since I've been here.
Yeah.
And even in our low density previous zoning, they would have been non-conforming lots. So we didn't change. We went up and we increased the square footage on our R1 lots, but I don't think it, even in our previous zone, they would have met the lot size requirements there. So, they're vacant lots that are not being currently used and are currently non-conforming in the current zone.
Any more discussion from the board?
Is there anybody here to speak on it?
No, I only had 2 to sign up.
Okay.
They both spoke. If not, I entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we rezone it to R3 as requested.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do you have a finger up, Mr. Jennifer?
Fair finger up.
5-0. Okay.
Motion carries. Let's see who made the motion.
I did.
Jackie.
And Mr. Pugh seconded.
Number 7, annexation request.
There are none, Chairman.
Number 8, site plan request.
None.
Old business.
None.
Number 10, other business.
No, sir.
Number 11, board and staff comment.
I don't have any comment.
Number 12, citizens' comments have been taken care of. Number 13, adjournment. I hear a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
I think you just said,
Second.
that.
Thank y'all for attending. Thank y'all.
Seconded.
Jackie.
He did. Second.
Which of these drawings you need back, Robert?
Just the plat.
Just the one?